Hi, this is Kyle again, and this is the second video in the Getting Started series, and this one's just called What is a Program, which seems like a good thing to discuss before we start installing software to run programs. We'll also talk about what a programming language is. The meaning of the word program, of course, is contextual. An academic program, like computer systems technician, is different than a musical program, which is, of course, different than a computer program. But in an abstract way, these different kinds of programs may have some similarities. Hopefully you can engage in some discussion with your instructor in the first couple weeks of class about the larger meaning of the word program. But for now, we'll stick to computer programs. One textbook-style definition for a computer program is data and instructions used to operate a computer. Simple enough. Programming would be the writing of a computer program in a language that the computer can respond to and that other programmers can understand. How can we write something that both a computer and a person are able to understand and use? Well, what we would use for this is a computer programming language. There are high-level programming languages which are easier for a human to understand, but need to be translated into machine code through a process that we call either compiling if it happens at design time or interpreting if it happens at runtime. There are also low-level languages like assembly, which is usually specific to the machine we're programming on and is not very much like human language at all. Some advantages of low-level languages could be performance, or could be doing specialized things for a specific type of computer. And of course, the advantage of a high-level language is that obviously it's a whole lot easier to create and read for humans. When it's easier to create and read, that also means the code is easier to maintain, and we're able to create much more sophisticated programs as a result. Just about every programming language you've ever heard of is a high-level programming language, designed to be easier for people and require some interpretation for the computer. This includes Python. There are precisely a bazillion programming languages out there, and some of them are very similar to each other, and then some of them are very different off on their own. The fundamental concepts that we'll be learning in this course, however, are mostly pretty common. Many things we'll do, like the planning steps we'll be using early in this course, apply to any programming language, not just Python or just C#. So in this short video, we dealt with a few definitions, we talked about what a program was and what programming is, as well as a little bit about programming languages. Some questions you should be able to answer now are, how many programming languages are there? What's the difference between a high-level programming language and a low-level programming language? Is Python a high-level language or a low-level language? Now let's recall that the video before this was about using video-based resources for learning. We're trying to work on our critical thinking skills since nobody makes six-figure salaries because they can Google a trivia question. So please don't just Google these questions. Instead, give these questions some thought and maybe rewatch this video again if you're very uncertain about what these things mean. In the next video, we'll talk about actually installing Python.